3-4 times a month or 3-4 times a week.
The first PJ that I flew on was a Challenger 350.
Yeah, nice plane.
And I'm like, damn, dude, like it ruined me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a big one.
With
So my
that much
200
open
is
space.
pretty similar to that.
Is
one.
it?
Yeah. Yeah, so we bought our plane from Antonio Banderas, so Zorro. And he set it up in a weird way where it's only 8 seats. It should be 11.
Yeah.
But he flew it to Spain and Hollywood all the time. So he made 4 beds in it, like the seats hooked together and make beds. And then he put 2 flight attendant jump seats in it and a bunch of stuff. So it's set up for his long hauls.
No shit.
Yeah, it'll fly 9 hours.
When did you get that one?
So we actually have it's sitting in Montana because it's got to be there.
Oh,
for
that's
so
the
long.
Gulfstream.
Yeah.
That's the 200 you're going to take.
So it says like AB on the side of it.
Yeah.
So you ever see it down to the airport, it's just a big ass AB on the side of the tail. It's like orange and black.
You going to end up changing that up?
Probably not because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to know that we own it.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to bug me or something happens, it breaks down. Or planes break down every day.
That's cool
so
as hell.
I don't want them to know.
That's cool as hell.
So, I mean, the tail number says Haugen Aviation LLC, but they don't know who that is. So
that's badass, dude.
Yeah.
So, okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it, dude. Jason, appreciate having on, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I don't know why whenever I try to do an intro, dude, it doesn't work, but
No, you're good.
buddy, appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you.
Taking the time out to come hang out with us and go through some of this stuff. But
Anytime.
jumping right into it, who is Jason Haugen?
Man, Jason's first off family man. Like I said, God-fearing family man. My family means more to me than anything in the world. When we get into my story a little bit later, I kind of lost touch of my family a little bit, and now recently, or not recently, but in the past few years, I've really tried to just hone in on my family, what means most to me. A good buddy of mine, Ryan Flint, who's been on your podcast, always calls it
Stud,
his non-negotiables.
Yep.
He's a great friend of mine, mentor of mine, honestly, and he's just been honing me into what that really means. So, I'm a family man, businessman, entrepreneur, speaker. I got a podcast as well called Culture Camp, and I'm just Jason. That's why I always tell people I'm just Jason.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
What with the family? You're saying you're getting back with the family. What is that?
Yeah, so I mean, the story's kind of crazy, but I've been married once and have a daughter from that marriage, and then I'm remarried as of a few months ago, and just that whole thing. I was not the greatest person. Talking about a lot of people think the money's happiness and everything's great. I had all of that. That was great. But what I didn't have is the understanding of relationships and really what that meant and how to be a husband and how to be a father, really, to my newborn baby.
Yeah.
And long story, but got divorced over it, and we're great now. I mean, my ex-wife and her husband are like my 2 best friends. I mean, they're some of the best people in the world, I think.
That's good, dude. Sometimes it takes that growing up, though. Unfortunately, it takes that growing up to figure that out.
Right.
I've been in the same situation.
Yeah.
And a lot of the past relationships and everything like that, sometimes I feel like mine are a little bit different. Mine were not my fault, but in some of them. But you kind of learn as you go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Had I gotten I feel like had I gotten a relationship at the age I'm at now, they probably would have all been totally different.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, a guy many years ago told me, most situations, all situations are a blessing or a lesson, either a blessing or a lesson, or they're both. And it was a blessing and a lesson for that marriage, and what I learned from it for this future marriage.
Yeah.
Or not future marriage, this present marriage, I should say. Hopefully there's not a future one. But if there is, then I'll be better. No, I'll keep evolving here. But it taught me so many lessons, and so to deal with people. And really how to be, a single dad, how to deal with that other parent and deal with people, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that person on the other side of the divorce or the other side is usually not happy, right? Like you're
somebody's
battling.
pissed off.
Yeah.
Somebody was
mad
mad from the situation.
I mean, people don't. I mean, it's very rare, and I'm not going to put this in it's very rare for people to just amicably break up, divorce, and they just love each other through everything, and everything's fantastic. It's usually a reason. And my ex-wife had a huge reason. She for that, and so just dealing with her, and it took a really long time to create that relationship we have now. But I can honestly say, I've already talked to them a couple times today, and they're some of the greatest people. I mean, her husband is one of my dudes. I love him to death.
That's
and
awesome.
He's a great father to my daughter. I want them to have that relationship. So I don't really say anything besides that's their other dad.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
that's just another dad,
That
so-
toxic shit, dude. If it's toxic, it's not good.
No, and like I look at it like, how can I who am I to take that from my daughter?
Yeah.
Like if my daughter's in a situation and I travel a lot and she needs dad or needs somebody, well, I want her to go to him. I don't want to take that away from her because how dare I take that from my daughter? And I want my daughter to be loved. At the end of the day, like love wins. I want my daughter to be loved, and I'm not going to be selfish with that love, so to speak. Like I'm going to, like, hey, like I want you. And like everybody was mad at me. Did you see him took her to the corn maze? And did you take him? Like, yeah, like I hope he does. And they went skiing. Dude, I was there. Like me and him, like me and him and our daughter are going to go pick out skis next week, and we got season passes, so me and him can take her up this year. And we were teaching her last year on Little Bunny Hill. Like we did all it together. Like it's kind of one big old happy family. But
that's
it's
good, dude.
weird.
That's good. No, and it is like my ex and her new husband now. You know, we're best friends. We're not best friends. We're really good friends.
Right.
If my kids they call him dad, I'm totally fine with that. That does not bug me.
Right.
That doesn't change the bond that I have with my kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? My kids know who I am.
Right.
And I'm always there for them, but to not have a toxic relationship for the kids too is damn good, dude. My ex and I, we pretty much shook hands. Was like, we've tried, this isn't going to work, dude. And our relationship right now is way better than it was when we were together.
Yeah, same in mine. I mean, we even were kind of talking about the other day. We went to lunch with her, and they have a daughter now, and her name's Harvey, and she's the best thing ever. She's my little. I'm pretty sure she has a crush on me, but we. Like we're just one like big group, and like we were just talking about how like it didn't work, and like, you know, my ex-wife was like, "Well, look at us now, like we're great." And
it's so good for the kids to see that shit too. Yeah, so good.
And it's easy because like when my daughter's with her, I can just call her and say, "Hey, let's go do something together." Yeah, and then I get to see my daughter.
That's awesome.
It makes it easy.
So moving on, what does Jason Haugen do?
So I do like right now the biggest thing that I got going on is my RV dealerships. So I got 8 RV locations. I got one just right here, the Legacy RV, just literally across State Street pretty much. I have a service center. Honestly, this sounds bad, but it's somewhere back here. I've never seen it before. I just passed JP's Collision. All those trailers are mine. I'm like, oh hey, we use Scott over there all the time.
Dude, he's a stud.
Yeah, he's awesome.
They have so many RVs over there all the time.
They're ours.
Are they?
Yeah, they're all
Dude,
ours.
I have no idea how he gets through all those.
Most of them are ours. I mean, a couple other dealerships in the area use them, but I would say most of them are ours.
Dude.
It's a full-time back and forth.
It seems like the past year and a half when I drive by there, dude, he is blowing up.
Yeah, most of them are ours. But I got 8 locations, 1 service center. It's my biggest thing right now. I do real estate. Like I said, I got a podcast, do consulting, do coaching, speaking all over the place. I own a piece of a cannabis company that's fairly large with the NFL, a couple NFL players, and it's kind of exploding right now. But yeah, it's just
mechanics company?
It's cannabis.
So cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis company. So it's kind of hidden in Utah. I don't really talk about it because people probably think I'm a pothead, but I really don't know much about it.
It's not Kush Cube, is it?
No.
I just pushed some others.
Yeah. No, that's Ryan.
That is Ryan.
And ours is real stuff.
Yeah.
We got seed to sell down in San Diego area. We got a big piece of property, a whole facility, and we got dispensaries and stuff. So, but I don't really have much to do with that. I just go to the parties because we sponsor a lot of the Super Bowl stuff. So I got to go to Super Bowl.
That's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah. I never knew that side. I only knew of the RVs.
Yeah. No, I got a lot of stuff that I don't really talk about because it's a little bit taboo to talk about it in Utah.
Oh, with the weed and stuff like that?
Yeah, because people probably think I'm a pothead, which I'm like, dude, I don't really know anything about. Like, I've never been to one of our facilities.
Yeah.
I just go to the parties and invest in it. I'm a strategic partner, and we get calls every now and again and meetings, and really mostly just for the parties.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it was a relatively inexpensive ticket, honestly, to go to the Super Bowl and all the parties. And I mean, I know like one of the owners, Jim McMahon, good buddy, like hanging out with him. All those guys,
Yeah, the network is huge. Being able to network with people. And that's the whole podcast for me is that same thing, to be able to network with really high.
Right. I mean, it's all about who you know. I mean, you used to hear that a lot.
Yep.
But it really is about who you know. And through that, like, I'm not like, we haven't made a ton of money from it. I really don't care. It's more for the networks and the relationships I've created through that have led me to a ton of different opportunities.
The more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude,
for sure.
you're-
And I'm Mr. Party, Mr. Network.
Your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that shit's Brad Lee stuff.
Yeah,
But
for sure. Brad always says that.
you got him coming on your podcast?
Now, hopefully, we'll see if Brad hears this, man. Freaking stop being a biatch and get in there.
Getting his ass on your podcast?
Yeah. But he's just busy. I'm busy. We're just trying to figure it out. And he was supposed to do it when he was at Keaton's thing. And
Yeah.
I don't know, but
It's hard to find time, dude, when you both are going nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's just like, dude, I don't want. I didn't want to do it at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Neither did he. So
Yeah.
But I'm going to Vegas for 4 or 5 days here coming up, and I think we're gonna connect. And if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. It's not a big deal to me.
Hell yeah. What does Jason Haugen want out of life?
Man, I just honestly just want to be happy. I really don't care about. So I grew up in a lot of money.
Yeah.
We had the jets and the big house and everything, and so I really have just kind of came to a sense that growing up, I just didn't really care. Like, and so it's really I just want to be happy. Like I watched my dad care nothing about money, like, and more care about relationships and people, which made him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Than anything. So kind of he's definitely my role model. I mean, I look up to him more than probably anybody, and he's a super happy guy. We just spent a weekend or 3 or 4 days in Napa on our plane, flying him out like just for his birthday. Got it for his birthday. It's kind of like a thing for me to take care of him. The whole time he's like bitching, how much is this? How much was that? Like that tasting was how much?
He's pretty frugal.
Chill. Oh my gosh, it's kind of disgusting, but I love him to death. But super frugal dude. Like he's hilarious. Like he cannot believe like we were drinking. We bought like a $50 bottle of wine because he's like on the $5 to $10 bottle of wine or boxed wine. He's super into boxed wine. So
what did he do?
So just like can't believe we're spending this much money. Can't believe we're that. And I'm like just buying stuff because I'm like, dude, whatever. Like I'll make more.
Yeah.
Like, my mentality is always like, how can I make more money, spend more money, make more money? But he's a little bit older. He just turned 69 the other day, and so he's more on the protection mode of life. So he's trying to protect everything, which is just it's one way not better than the other. It's just very different.
Yep.
And I'm like, hey man, I'm here to have fun. Let's stay here. Like we got a nice hotel, did all these things, and he's just a funny dude. But
there is that transition point when they at the age that they get. You know what I mean? Given you have to.
Oh yeah.
And unless you got a ton of mailbox money or whatever, and you don't care, like,
right?
Fuck you,
Which
money.
he kind of does.
Yeah.
But he still is very protection.
That's like I sit and talk to my parents, and I'm like, don't you guys. As bad as it sounds, you're looking at like 15 years or something. Like,
right.
Don't save that shit for me. Like, go.
Right.
Like, just get after it, dude. Just let it rip.
Yeah, no, it's cool for me to kind of push my mom and dad to do that. They bought a motorhome, and they've been traveling all over the.
Where'd they buy the motorhome from?
From us. Yeah. And they got a big like Renegade Super C. Big, like,
hell yeah.
I think it's like around 40 feet long, but it's just super nice rig. And they got a brand new Razor, the crazy 2000 cc Razor. That's just freaking insane. And they just mob around all around the West, camping every single day, literally. Like they're just. I had to like make sure I scheduled this Napa trip in between their camping trips. And
no
like,
shit.
But the whole time we're on this Napa trip, they're like, man, we're camping. We could do that. I'm like, seriously? Like we're in Napa. We just flew here on our plane.
And you're thinking about driving around camping.
They just love that. Like my dad, when he was younger, did everything he possibly could to make enough money to go camping. And so that's still what they do 50 years later. And it's cool to see.
What did your dad do?
He owned everything, man. Every construction company, mortgage company, restaurant. Helped start Costa Vida. We owned a bunch of Costa Vidas. I don't know if you ever
owned or invested in. Owned.
Yeah.
Damn.
So we owned. I don't know how many locations we had. Quite a few of them, and then we had a piece in corporate, and I don't know how big that was, but we were there at the beginning, and then he had, everything, like ton of commercial real estate. Different restaurants in Atlanta. We had 12 of them. I think they're called Johnny Carino's, which you probably never heard of Johnny Carino.
I've heard of Johnny Carino's.
Yeah, we had 12 of those, I think. 12 of those in Atlanta. And just was really smart with his money. Was really big into right now it's like a $36 billion real estate fund. He was there right at the beginning when that was formed. I don't know how, he won't ever tell us how much he's got in there. He might not have very much. He might have a lot, but he was there. That's what, he just has a ton of stuff going on.
And then he's just a super frugal guy.
Yeah, and he was in like his biggest start was he was in Amway.
Amway.
Yeah.
Dude, you hear about that shit all the time.
Yeah, he was one of the biggest guys in Amway ever.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dude, that's freaking wild.
Yeah, he had, I don't know how many people in his group, 100,000. I don't know how many people he had in his group, but they would have 35, 40,000 people at their meetings.
That is freaking wild, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I think Amway was probably what started everybody calling pyramid groups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
if you think about it, dude, everything in life is a pyramid.
Right. Right. I mean, like literally that's how corporate structure is.
Yeah.
Right. You have the owner or the chairman, and then you have everybody underneath them.
Yep.
And they're never going to make more. Like I always tell people, because I was in it as well. Like that's where I got my start. I was in a network marketing company because I watched my mom and dad do it. I'm like, they're flying on jets, and we had a big, $1 million tour bus and all over the place. So like I wanted to do that. So what did I do? I did what mom and dad did.
Yeah.
And they were retired at the time. They didn't really want much to do with it, but that's what I did. So like. But then get into people who complain about it all the time, be like, oh, it's a pyramid. And I'm like, what is that? Like, and really, like, they explain like a Ponzi scheme, which is totally different than look like you buy products, you can't guarantee you success. Like, and now like the FTC's like ruled a bunch on it, and it's more going towards customer base of life instead of like Amway was like business. Everything was an IBO, like a business owner, independent business owner, and then now it's more, oh, I'm a customer, like, and I sell it, and so. It's just different, but Amway definitely made some hustlers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff built. I mean, that Costa Vida, they're all in my dad's Amway group.
Yeah.
I mean, that was how they built that. I mean, Fat Cat's Pizza Factory.
Fat Cat, dude, there's a lot of shit that you're saying.
Yeah, so well, Fat Cat's the same guys who own Costa Vida.
Yeah.
So, and all that was born out of my dad's Amway group.
So they had a group that was going after everything.
Yeah.
Is that group you were just saying?
So just like just everybody in Amway was in like my dad's downline, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But
dude, that is freaking wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. How did you get started? Have you ever worked for anybody else?
So yeah, man, I worked at GNC.
Let's hear
I worked at Costa Vida. It was the first job I ever had.
Okay.
I had, we had to go through the whole.
Did you have an in for Costa Vida?
I mean, no. My mom and dad would never do
No?
that to us. Oh, hell no. My mom and dad were so rough on us growing up, and they never gave us any. 16, cut off, pretty much. Like you have the ability to go get a job. That's on you. You go do your own thing, buy your own car, pay for your own gas, on insurance, on phone, on clothes. You do you. Even if we played sports, they're like, congratulations, learn how to do both. We manage all these companies and we do both. You need to learn how to play basketball and have a job. So me and I say we because I have a twin brother. So, and everything that we did, we pretty much did copy of each other.
Yeah.
So I started at Costa Vida. It was okay. Kind of sucked. You didn't get a lot of money. I mean,
what'd you do at Costa Vida?
Just on the line, man, making food. It was. I mean, I can make a burrito better than anybody.
Mad burrito.
Oh yeah, did I like the spinning around those the tins? I could spin around and I was a beast. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
And then I worked at Hollister, and then I was actually like a model for Hollister, California, and I was on like a bag and that whole thing. I'm shamefully enough, and then I did like the shirtless greeting. And then
did you really?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Way long time ago. And then I went to GNC, and GNC was my first more I was making maybe $8,000 a month, and I was like, I'm killing it, and life is great. I worked in the mall, so when I got my paycheck, I just spent all the money in the mall, and so I was always that whole thing. And then I learned to save my money. My mom and dad taught us money management growing up, and I was so cheap that growing up, I wouldn't even go hang out with people because I didn't want to pay for it. I didn't want to go bowling. I didn't want to go to the movie because I'm too cheap. I saved everything I had. And literally could live off probably $100 a month back then. I mean, I saved everything I had. I mean, my gas tanks would go weeks, if not month and a half, because I didn't want to go anywhere besides school and home. Yeah. But working at GNC really taught me a lot about people. So that's where my people kind of sense started to come about because of how I was treated by a manager that I had, a regional manager that I had. And it was horrible. And he made me hate everything about I mean, I was into bodybuilding when I was 18 years old at the time. I was into bodybuilding, and everybody was a bro hookup at GNC, and that's the freaking bro thing to do is to work at GNC. And I honestly started to just hate it. And I worked there with one of my best friends, and it was a fun job initially. And I didn't last very long because of how I was treated. And right at that time,
I'm gonna throw this in there. The culture
sucked. Oh, it was horrible. I remember so. I met some really famous people, popular people, wealthy people growing up. And so I always had respect for people, a lot of respect for people. My mom and dad, everybody you meet, you have respect for them. So I heard this regional manager's coming to the store, you tidy up the store, you wear no one ever does this. Back in the day, like in GNC, you could wear a button-up shirt and a red tie. So I wear a button-up shirt, red tie, khaki pants. I'm gonna go all out for this guy and prove to him that I am. Because at the time, I wanted to be a regional. Like I wanted to go deep at GNC, maybe own them someday. That big margin in supplements, and people didn't know that.